Last year, Americans reported losing more than $1 billion to a scam that never once threatened them. No fake arrest warrant, no urgent phone call, no countdown clock, just weeks, sometimes months, of someone who seemed to genuinely love them. It's called a romance scam, and it now has the highest reported loss per victim of any imposter scam the FTC tracks. This is how it actually works and why it fools people who are anything but foolish. This video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial or legal advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making financial decisions. This isn't a new kind of crime, it's one of the oldest, wearing a new costume. By the late 1800s, newspapers across America and Europe ran matrimonial columns, personal ads where lonely readers described themselves and what kind of partner they hoped to find. Replies went through the publication, not directly to the advertiser, which meant the real person behind the ad could stay hidden behind layers of mail and middlemen. That hidden layer was exactly what made it exploitable. Newspapers from as early as 1900 were already reporting matrimonial agency frauds, men and women duped by fake suitors, fake matchmakers, and agencies that vanished with their fees. The scam worked the same way it works today. Build trust slowly, through letters instead of texts, and then ask for money, travel costs, translation fees, a wedding that never happens. The medium was paper. The mechanism was identical to what's happening on dating apps right now. Today's version has a name investigators borrowed from livestock farming, pig butchering. It starts small and friendly: a wrong number text, a dating app match, a comment on social media. The scammer keeps the conversation going, adds warmth and routine, and only later introduces something too good to pass up. Usually a crypto investment run through a fake app that shows a rising balance. Victims are even allowed to withdraw a little early on to prove it's real. Then, when they try to pull out real money, they're told they owe taxes, fees, or verification costs, and the scammer disappears. What's changed most since 2023 is the disguise itself. Stolen photos have been joined by AI generated faces, cloned voices, even video that isn't real, making the identity almost impossible to verify by looks alone. Here are the numbers, straight from the FTC's own reporting. In 2023, Americans filed just over 64,000 romance scam reports, totaling $1.14 billion in losses, a median loss of $2,000 per victim. That made romance scams the single highest median loss imposter scam the FTC tracks, worse than government impersonation, worse than tech support fraud. And this is very much a today problem. In 2025 alone, people reported losing $298 million to romance scams that started on social media. The same slow build, just on a new platform. Older adults carry a disproportionate share of this damage. Adults 60 and over reported $2.4 billion in total fraud losses in 2024, up from roughly 600 million in 2020, close to a 300% increase in just 4 years. And the FTC names large romance scam losses as one of the major drivers behind that jump. The gap widens with age. FTC reporting on the oldest victims, 80 and up, shows a median loss over $1,600, while a separate Earlier FTC alert focused specifically on victims 70 and older found a median loss of $9,000. Those two figures come from different data sets collected at different times, so they shouldn't be read as one clean table. But the pattern underneath both is the same. The older the victim, the larger the loss tends to be. It's tempting to assume this only happens to people who aren't paying attention. The evidence says the opposite. The victims are rarely naive. They're capable people of every age reacting to what feels like a real relationship. One British bank that analyzed its own romance fraud cases found the average scam runs 95 days from the first payment to the last, with victims making 11 separate payments before the fraud becomes undeniable. That's not one bad decision. That's 11 decisions, each one made by someone who, by that point, wasn't reacting to a stranger. They were reacting to someone they felt they'd known for months. And the people hit hardest are often going through a lonely stretch, recently widowed, divorced, or isolated, not because they're weaker, but because scammers deliberately target the exact moment someone is most open to connection. The mechanism is psychological, not intellectual. Researchers describe a pattern strikingly similar to coercive control: intense affection and daily contact early on, often called love bombing, followed by intermittent silence that creates anxiety and makes the victim work harder to restore the connection. Scammers also work actively to isolate their targets from friends and family because an outside voice asking, "Have you actually met this person?" is the single biggest threat to the fraud. By the time money is requested, stopping doesn't just mean losing cash, it means admitting the relationship and the future it promised was never real. That's a much harder thing to accept than a fake email ever was. So, how do you actually tell a real connection from a manufactured one? Three checks matter more than instinct alone. First, verify before you trust, not after. Run a reverse image search on their profile photo. Stolen and AI generated pictures often turn up attached to a different name somewhere else online. A real person usually leaves an ordinary digital footprint. A scam profile often looks thin, brand new, or inconsistent across platforms. Second, insist on a real time video call and pay attention to the excuses if they resist. Work trips, bad connections, and broken cameras can happen once. A pattern of avoidance is the clearest signal available because it's the one thing a stolen photo and a scripted backstory can't fake. Third, treat any request for money, gift cards, or cryptocurrency as the end of the conversation, regardless of how the story is framed: a medical emergency, a stock shipment, a can't miss investment. If money has already been sent, contact your bank immediately, stop all contact, and report it to both the FTC and the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. And never send a second payment to unlock money that's already gone. That follow up request is almost always a second scam. There's no way to make yourself immune to loneliness, and you shouldn't have to. What actually protects you is one habit: keep at least one person in the loop on any new relationship that lives mostly online, and let them ask the questions your own judgment might be too invested to ask. 95 days and 11 payments only happen in isolation. They rarely survive a second opinion. The matchmaking agencies of 1900 and the crypto apps of today are separated by more than a century, but the method never changed. Earn trust slowly, then spend it all at once. Knowing that pattern in advance is the one thing every past victim wishes they'd had. That's what this channel is here for. Not to make you suspicious of connection itself, but to make sure trust is something you build with your eyes open. Subscribe and let's keep making these decisions clearly, one episode at a time.